Hey there, world. This is Vision Coach Ramona S. Jones. I'm so excited about our podcast segment today. We are playing with the names of the podcast, but Generational Wealth Empowerment Podcast is something that I'm kind of feeling. And I hope you're feeling it too, because we're all about generational wealth, right?
That's right.
I have our investment coach, Harold Corsair of World Financial Group, with us today. We're at the lovely Mental Bar Cafe in Encanto. We're out live on the patio, and you can be able to support what we're doing by coming and having lunch with us on Thursdays between 12 and 1 o'clock. We want you to be able to speak to your passion, speak to your interests, your business and career interests. But let's get started on the Generational Wealth Empowerment podcast segment. Thank you, Harold, for being here. He's been a strategic player in the design of what Dream Builders is doing in our community. We are in southeastern San Diego, which is a community that has a rich history of people loving their community, investing in their community. But one of the things that we really want to emphasize is how do we prepare the economic empowerment opportunities in southeastern San Diego and communities like it. So I'm a vision coach. I'm the founder and president of a youth leadership and mentoring organization called Dream Builders Youth Mentoring Network. We won't be long today, but we want to inspire you, engage you so that you can take action towards generational wealth in your families and in your communities. So let's get started. Harold, thank you for being here.
Yes.
You have been integral to what we're doing. Remember when you and I worked together with your director, Patrina Wisdom, on formulating what is called the Driven to Win Financial Literacy and Wealth Building Questionnaire.
Yes, that was very powerful. And that's where it starts, right? It's a foundation. You want to kind of know where you are and then know what you can build upon for a better future. So, yeah, that is a great tool.
You know, when I first came to San Diego, I raised my family in Oceanside, and I came to San Diego with my bright 501c3 information, and I was ready to take charge in the nonprofit world. And the first pit stop that I had in the early 2000s was Neighborhood House Association. They had a youth summit, and I was invited to be on the panel. And I remember they posed one of the questions at the end. They said, what is the number one threat for young people today? What do you think some of the answers were that people shared?
I bet, knowing how it is, I grew up in the inner city of New York. So,
Hear the accent.
but yeah, some of the things that we're most concerned about that we kind of see is things like crime and poverty, and that's the first things that we think about. But believe it or not, the one thing that's holding us back is not the crime, it's not the poverty, is lack of financial literacy. Lack of understanding what can we do with the money that we make to build a better future, to build a better tomorrow, and that's one thing that's key, that's missing.
Wow. You know, as a financial coach, I always say the best thing you can tell a poor person is they don't have to stay poor. And so, one of the things that we want to make sure that we emphasize in this school year that we just started, that we want to build personal, professional, and economic success in our young people
Yes.
that lends into their family and then goes out and spreads out into the community. And I believe that many of the things that we work on with youth development, youth enrichment, we never really include economic power.
Mhm.
We talk about financial literacy. We even toss a few terms around. Maybe we have even a little workbook or something that they'll do for a day, a workshop, a seminar. But integration, implementation into building economic futures means connecting education with economic empowerment.
Wow.
Wow. There's
Yeah.
so many mentors that's come alongside Dream Builders as we've developed in the last 20 years, whether they are business owners, career professionals, maybe they're faith-based leaders in the community. But what I challenge organizations, especially in group settings, I always ask the question, what is the economic vitality that's linked to your program engagement for these young people? Is it only a summer job so that after summer they're just as poor as they were before they started summer? Is it a little, here and there dabbling with a part-time job that your young person had in high school but never leveraged into a career and a mentorship component? I mean, your background is you're an aerospace engineer, right?
Yeah.
Give them a little bit of your history, because one of the first questions in the questionnaire is, what did you know about money management when you were young in your high school years? Let's take you through the questionnaire.
Wow, wow, wow. You said so many things there that are so powerful, right? One thing you said is economic empowerment. So remember back when we were kids, they had like classes, economics in
Yes.
school. Well, they don't even have that anymore.
Wow.
So that was a simple basis, right? It really was the start. It taught us things, how to write a check. Who writes checks anymore? Come on, this stuff needs to be updated. It needs to be upgraded, and we need to start teaching these things in high school, because I love what you do, because you're working with the youth. A lot of times, you try to hit things from the top, but a lot of times you have to hit it from the bottom. Now, in next year, 2026, they're gonna start having financial literacy requirement as a requirement for high school graduation.
That's right.
And the only thing is, it's like one semester out of 4 years of high school. Wow.
I always tell my students that their educational life is from kindergarten to 12th grade, and if they do secondary education, maybe it's 19 to 26. You're finishing a college degree. I've got a master's. My daughter has a PhD. My oldest daughter. Your school life, your educational traditional life is no more than 20 years, right? After high school, during high school and beyond, you've got to live another 50, 60 years. So your economic life can be boiled down to one semester of a financial literacy class to learn some loose fitting terms like Rule of 72 and checkbooks and cryptocurrency. How do we put those Legos together?
Yeah.
How do we build an economic life?
Yeah.
And I believe the questionnaire starts the journey. The reading literacy starts the journey of saying, I take position of my own personal, professional, and economic life. So I'm so excited about this school year kicking off.
Mm-hmm.
We call it Driven to Win, your best school year ever. And when I met this little 8th grader the other day, and I said, you know how you can have your best school year ever? He said, hi, ma'am. How do I do it? I said, because you're going to learn and earn.
That's right.
I asked him a question. I said, did you learn something today? He said, yes, ma'am, I learned something. He goes to one of the charter schools in the area. But I said, but did you earn? If
Yes.
you're hunting chickens, go where the chickens are, right? And so if you have youth and you build a youth leadership team, guess where your leaders are? They're at school with you. They're on Instagram. They are on TikTok. And so we're teaching kids how to be driven to win.
Yes.
And I love the opportunity to be able to engage young people and see where their interest and their passion is, because I believe the wealthy place,
Mm-hmm.
the wealthy place is defined as where your purpose, your passion, and your skill set connects, and then money is commanded to follow you. Money has no choice but to follow you, because you're serving in the lane of your interest and your passion. And so can you just share how you develop your passion and your purpose over the years?
Well, that's a really good question, right? She got me with a loaded question there. So my passion has always been aerospace, aviation, right? I was in aviation ever since I was like 14 years old, and came up through the ranks after I graduated with a aerospace degree. I was in the Air Force and flew aircraft all over the world, did some great things, right? And I was taught to go to school, get good grades, and some big company is going to hire you, and you're going to work there for 40 years, and you're going to get a retirement, and you're going to be set forever. Well, yeah, what happens?
Well,
right?
yeah, you hear that? Well, yeah.
What happens is that sometimes you have to get out there and learn, right, and be humbled. But the problem is, you don't want the next generation to have to go through those same trials and tribulations. You want them to learn from your experience, and that's what happened to me. Did great things, right? Aerospace engineer, 20 years in the industry, come out here living
Military, right?
military, yeah, coming out here living in beautiful sunny San Diego. I thought I was living large, but without financial education, it doesn't matter how much you make. If you can't manage $20,000, you can't manage $220,000.
That's good.
Okay, so that is the problem. We need to have some type of financial education. Kids need to know. Now I've learned, right? How did I learn? I learned because I fell on my ass and almost got to a
Assets.
point. Yes, exactly. I fell on my assets.
Let's get some assets up in
Yes,
here.
I didn't have enough assets, and I almost really kind of got myself in a really bad situation. The tax man's after me, wages being garnished. How do you get out of that? What do you do? Do you read a book? You have to have some type of knowledge, or at least know somebody that you can go to that can help you out.
And
Right.
I love that. I want to stop you there because one of the five stages of how we engage with the Driven to Win Leadership Program that we sponsor 100 students in any participating city. So my question is your city driven to win? Is your family driven to win? Is your child driven to win? We do a lot of things for our young people. We buy them hats and T-shirts and backpacks. We get them school supplies. I mean, especially with the back to school events that we just went through. But did you give them pack up some financial literacy?
Mm-hmm.
Did you bring some understanding that this is not about just getting good grades? This is about you building your network, building your opportunities. And so we tell our young people, I just need you to do three things. I need you to read, lead, and earn money with friends.
Ooh,
And what we do together, VIP professionals and business and career professionals, youth pastors, leaders, business leaders, what we do is we do three things too. We build leaders.
mm-hmm.
We build networks.
Mm-hmm.
And we ignite economic engines. They say the five people that you listen to, that's your closest friends, they are either promoting your economic power or destroying it, because it's about mindset,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
How do you think about money? How do you think about who you are and being positioned? Do you see yourself as waiting at the bus stop, waiting for a $2 raise? Do you see yourself at the bus stop waiting for a scholarship so you can start the master's degree? Or are you putting yourself in position, in the driven to win position? The driver's seat is the most powerful seat, because that means that you make the decisions. You start up the engines. You identify with the GPS where you're going. Where am I now? Where am I going? And what do I need to get there? So families, where's your kids now? Do they have a trust fund? Because that's a part of the questionnaire. Do they have a trust fund? Do they have a bank account, a Stripe account, which is a part of our e-commerce business that your kid can start with Dream Builders? And do they have a trust fund? There's so many families that don't have a trust fund.
Yeah.
They don't have a limited liability corporation. They don't think like your family is a corporation. It is a family business that says we're going to propel our generation forward. So as we focus in this school year about generational wealth, we're looking for people like Harold that will come alongside Dream Builders. We're looking for nonprofits that will say, hey, I work with youth. Can we get 10 sponsorships out of the 100? We're looking for youth pastors to say, you know what, I want to do more than just talk about faith. I want to activate faith so that we can build economic futures that help young people to find their purpose, find their passion, and serve in that area. It's about service. And I believe that urban communities are really last in place.
Yeah.
They're last in place programmatically. That's why we have so many social service programs. What are you going to wear? Where are you going to sleep? What are you going to eat? Forever standing in bread lines, waiting for crumbs that cannot deliver an economic foundation that families can thrive on.
So many people are kind of in that mindset where they're just kind of trying to get by. They're just trying to make it today for tomorrow. And sometimes you got to kind of stop. Yes, you have to plan for that short term, but you also have to plan for some midterm. What do you want the next year to look like, right? We're in, September. What do you want the next year to look like? What do you want your family to be? You got to kind of plan for that and then put together some achievable goals and steps to get there. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to happen by magic. It's going to happen with planning, and it's going to happen with working, like she said, with some great people around you to kind of build that network. Okay, we have to start having these conversations about money to build a better relationship.
I always ask young people, how much money have you had in your hand? What's the largest amount?
Mm-hmm.
And most of them say about 500, maybe 700, maybe 1,000,
Yeah.
right? But we choke when we add another zero.
Mm-hmm.
$10,000 could change your child's mindset. They could be like, man, I never considered to be a homeowner. I got $100,000 opportunity. What am I going to do with it?
Yeah.
It's being able to make money, manage money, and mobilize money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Generational Wealth Empowerment Facebook group, shout out to all the people that have signed up for that Facebook group. Shout out. Now let's take action. Take this questionnaire and get it done.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you. We want you to be on these segments with us. We want to know what you knew about money management when you were young. One of my friends, he said, I knew that it'd give me girlfriends.
Got a girlfriend. What kind of girlfriends he gonna have?
So you need a lot of money for these women today. But and then what are the pitfalls and challenges you had? I remember my story is that my mother helped me get an American Express at 19, and it was $300 credit limit. And I overspent it with my boyfriend, and she was so mad at me. But what she did not do, shout out to my mom, what she did not do is she didn't say, hey, you see this statement? This statement says that you only can spend $300 and you need to pay this off.
That's right.
And this is the credit, this is the your responsibility is dependent. We're dependent on you to have a good credit score so you can buy a home, so you can make sure generational wealth is to these two daughters that you got to raise, right? So it's those type of sit-down moments that we need with our parents.
Yes.
And if our parents don't know, guess what? That's what Harold's for. So you can sit down with him and Lisa, his wife, and be able to craft a plan. The 2 leadership principles out of the 10 is leaders create a vision for what they want.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you need that motivates you. We don't wake up to say, well, I need this, I need that. What are you inspired to create in your life? That's the propulsion you need to get out of bed, take action, say what you want, and go get it.
White hot burning desire.
Like
Napoleon Hill says.
It is and then principle number 2 is when you couple leaders create a vision for what they want, what do you see off that windshield? Not the rear view mirror, not what's in back of you, what's in front of you. And leaders create a plan to go get what they want.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the mindset that we are taking ownership to help cultivate in your youth, your families. We want them to go get what they want.
Yes.
What do they want to be in life, become in life? What do they want to have in life? What do they want to experience? Do they want to go across the world? Do they want to go to Africa, China? Where do they want? You know, I ask kids all the time, what countries would you like to visit?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Japan.
Yeah.
Italy. Yeah. Okay, you need some money.
Right.
I mean, it goes right back to the economic power. You cannot move your car forward if you don't have no gas.
That's right.
And if you have an electric car, you need electricity, right? I used to work at Southern California Edison. I know about electricity. So if your lights are out, if your lights are dim, and you don't have vision, you cannot control your future. And that's the very question. So when they asked that question at Neighborhood House Association years ago, when I first started Dream Builders, what is the number one threat for young people today? We had answers like crime and gang violence and teenage pregnancy and all those things or maladies that short circuit the path forward. But when they came to me, Driven to Win coach, Ramona Jones, I said, the number one threat for young people today is a lack of vision. If you don't have vision, you can't plan your course.
That's right.
If you don't have vision, you're not inspired enough to get out of bed and take action. Last time I checked, faith and action moves that engine forward. So start up engines this year. Jump into the driver's seat. Don't look at the rearview mirror. Look at the front view mirror. Be driven to win. Don't be driven to lose. Losing is not moving forward.
Yeah.
Losing is getting straight F's and D's and can't read. Losing is not saving any money this week, this month, this year. Losing is not believing that you can own a house in San Diego. I brought Oakland Black real estate president Don Dunbar to the Legacy Resort and Spa, and we had a great time with some business professionals and faith professionals a couple of weeks ago. And I need his influence on a national level to recruit 100 Black real estate professionals.
Wow.
Why real estate professionals? And including life insurance. That's why Harold is here. Is because they know the economic condition of your families. You've got to show them your credit score.
That's right.
You've got to show them your portfolio and investments. They know the real deal. Everybody else you can kind of chuck and jive other people, but you can't. They knowing your income, and I need those real ones to get in position with this Black Youth Economic Empowerment Initiative. Here's the success formula: 1,000 Black youth plus 100 Black real estate professionals equals economic success. The reason why is because we're going to take this questionnaire and we're going to help young people do leadership assignments to go get your information. What are some of the pitfalls you had when it comes to money management and wealth building? What are the strategies of wealth building that you have in place for your family's generational wealth pathway? And what do you want your nieces and nephews and sons and daughters to learn about money management and wealth building now, before they're an adult?
Right.
Maybe if they learned about Rule of 72, they'll know about how doubling their money is what investors do. They'll start thinking like an investor. They'll start operating like a producer. And shout out to Dr. Claude Anderson, Powernomics, Black Labor, White Wealth. We're going to be in the driver's seat to make our own wealth. We're not standing at bus lines. We're not standing in passenger seats. You know what? I can't stand when a passenger says, "Oh, turn this way." If you wanted to drive, you should have got in the driver's seat. I had to say that so many times to I know who. And so we've got to get our kids positioned as producers, owners, investors, savers, and entrepreneurs. And Dr. I can't think of his name. Boyce Watkins says our kids need poise. He also is POISE, producer, owner, investor, saver, and entrepreneur. You start thinking different when you've got $100 in your pocket.
Oh, yeah.
You start thinking different when you've got $5,000 saved up in your bank account. It forces you to say, what am I going to do with this money? What am I going to do with this information? So all you programs out there on a national, international level that's focusing on financial literacy, when do we start up economic engines so they actually have the money to make it, manage it, and then mobilize it? And that's what you can do. I am a grant writer. I'm so excited about finding 100 nonprofits, 100 churches, 100 Black real estate professionals. Why? We work with all nationalities and all socioeconomic levels. Any young person that wants to be driven to win, no matter where they are in the country, they can call, email, get to the Instagram, Dream Builders for Life, and say, Miss Ramona, Vision Coach Mona, I want that sponsorship. But we have a special 3-year effort called Black Youth Economic Empowerment Initiative. And we've been working diligently. This man has seen me work.
Yeah.
In fact, shout out to Mr. Norris, who used to own the Alpha Center. He says, I'm the hardest working Black lady in Southeastern San Diego.
Amen.
That's what they used to call James Brown, the hardest working man. I work hard. I am diligently focused on economic power. Economic power is where it's at. Education has to meet economic empowerment.
Amen.
We're getting 1,000 Black youth through the system of reading, leading, and earning money with friends. And if you want to be a part of that movement, which is called hashtag D2W movement, if you want to join the D2W movement with Dream Builders Youth Mentoring Network, all you have to do is reach out to us. Find 10 kids that we can sponsor together. As a coach, I want you to succeed. We will write you into the financial movement. You'll get your $10,000 opportunity off of a 1,000 book campaign. Our kids are not reading. They're not reading.
Yeah.
How many things did you have to read while you were in the military?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah.
You
yeah,
couldn't pass
of
the
course.
courses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you have to read for Warren Financial Group?
Had to read an actual study for any type of investments, retirement planning, insurance investments. You do have to read this stuff, and it's out there, and it's not as difficult as you think when you have somebody working with you. So definitely team up with somebody. I even taught my granddaughter, right? Here's an interesting thing. So, people that are not as wealthy, they get their paycheck and they pay this bill and they pay that bill, they pay that bill, and and whatever's left over is for you, right? But what the wealthy do is they get paid, and the first person that gets paid is this guy. Then you manage your lifestyle off of what's left over, but you pay yourself first. So my granddaughter, you talking about $100. She had a little a job. And she's like, "Oh, Grandpa, I just made $100." I said, "Oh, congratulations! You got $90. You got paid 90." She goes, "No, it's 100." I said, "No, because you're taking 10% of that and you're putting it aside. Pay yourself first. Then you can go out and have lattes and do whatever you want to do. But have that money for yourself. Build now for a better tomorrow."
I love
Teaching
it.
her that.
I love it. So we've got hip hop songs, Driven to Win hip hop songs. Shout out to Hookmaster Jazz Williams. I need you DJs to get serious about being driven to win. We need your influence. We need you to wear the hat and t-shirt. If you're a DJ, if you're a promoter, if you're an entertainer, we're looking for local artists across the country that will support this D2W movement in this important school year. This should be driven to win your best school year ever. You know why? Because the thing that a poor man wants to hear is he don't have to stay poor, right? And you don't have to stay poor. You don't have to stay struggling. You don't have to work a low-income job. You can learn how to leverage leadership and entrepreneurship. We have the mentors for you. All we need is the youth. We need the 100 Black real estate professionals, and we need to connect the dots so that our kids can have their best school year ever. This has been a segment for the Generational Wealth Empowerment Facebook group. I hope you're encouraged. Go and subscribe. Look us up on D2W Movement, Instagram, Dream Builders for Life. Dream Builders for Life is the number. Is the number 4. Your book. This is how it starts. The Economic Engine. $10 ebook, $35 physical book. For you people that are ready for your tax deductions, we have a fiscal sponsor that's ready to meet you at the marketplace. So your tax deductible donations, 100, 500, up to 5,000, whatever you want to contribute. Guess what? We're going to sow into these young people. They're going to have opportunities like that you never dreamed of, because we took action and not just talked about it. We about it. Be about it. All right. Be driven to win. Be D2W. If you are a businessman or you a woman, if you have a career that you would love to be on a segment, we want you here. Fundraise with us. Build with us. Oh, I'll be singing at the Mental Bar Cafe on Sunday, September the 28th, 1 to 4, Sunday Jazz and Gospel Brunch Live event. RSVP, raise your $100, and get the shout out for you saying, "I support Black youth in my community." I'll see you on the road. Vision Coach Ramona Jones.
All right. You're the one.